Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Coming from Alaska, the Matsu area. I'm going to talk to you about what's going on with me and what's going on with me today. So let's go back to all the way back to January 21st of this year, when I was at work. I got hit in the head with an RV roof that was 13 feet long by 91 inches wide. When the RV roof came off the side of the passenger side, it fell down to the bunk bed that was over the driver and passenger seat. At this point in time, I was squished. It was twisting me to my left side. I was in real bad pain. It rang my bell. I had pressure behind my eyes. And it was just me and another coworker. At this point in time, my other coworker was yelling for help, and no one came to help get it off me. Instead, they told me to just suck through it and push it off. At that point in time, I pushed it off with my head, not my hands, because my hands could not get up at the time because I was in a squished position. Once it was back up where it was flush with the wall, I was able to put my hands underneath and push it up the rest of the way. At this point in time, it weighed about 400 pounds. I was able to slide it off the driver's side with the help of my other coworker. At that point in time, as we were sliding it, 4 to 6 people came running on the outside to grab the roof. 4 to 6. Instead of helping on the inside, they came to the outside, because they didn't want to damage a window or damage the pylon. They got the roof off, got it on the side, and at that point in time, I was able to take a relaxation. 5 minutes, I sat on the stairs. My head was spinning, I had pressure behind my eyes, and I literally could not stand up straight. But yet I was still working, so I climbed up on a ladder that was 6 feet tall and sat on top with my legs on the thing, so I wasn't really sitting, I was actually doing it by code, and try to help remove and clean up the points that need to be cleaned so we can be able to see everything better. At this point in time, I should not have got up there. My head was spinning even worse. I felt very, very dizzy, like I was about to fall off. So I climbed down the ladder after saying that. My other employee that was with me said, "Yeah, you should get down." So I did. At this point in time, I sat down on the stairs again, lightheaded, out of breath, and could not barely move. So I got up, tried to walk all the way around to the other side. On the driver's side, I was on the passenger side. And at this point in time, I had to sit down again. I couldn't walk that far because my head was spinning and I felt pressure and a headache and everything. Next thing I know, another employee comes in saying, "I told the owner what happened. He said you can go home if you need to." So at 3:30, I clocked off and went to my car. At that point, I was sitting inside my car. I called my wife. My wife was concerned. She was telling me how and asking me, "Hey, how are you feeling? Are you okay?" And she started noticing that I was trying to go to sleep, and she kept on yelling to wake me back up. At this point in time, other employees started asking me if I was okay, coming and going. I asked one employee if he could get me an Advil, Tylenol, something for my head. He went in and got it, but he couldn't come back to me because customers were asking for him. He was a parts person. Another employee brought me the Advil, and I took it. By 5 o'clock, I was able to drive home. Still having pressure, still having a headache, but I could do it. When I got home, I stayed home Sunday and Monday, relaxed, tried to catch my composure, but could not. As the days progressed, I kept on getting worse, stiffer, couldn't move. I couldn't wash my hair, I couldn't wash my body. I had to have my wife help me. Every day, my wife had to help me. So on Tuesday, the 24th, I went into the urgent care. Talked to them. They saw how I was moving. They said, "No, you need to be put on work release so that you can be able to heal properly." So they put me on work release until the following Tuesday. During that time, my company filed workman's comp for me because of it. Now, on the 30th of the month, I went back to the urgent care with able to move better, but not 100%. I was moving probably at 35-40% movement than I did the first time coming out, almost barely moving. barely able to get my jacket off. My wife had to help me put my jacket on, and I had to get it off. The nurses helped me put my jacket back on so I can go outside since it was winter still. Now, they said I can go back to work, but I need to see a main doctor. Well, I wasn't seeing my main doctor for at least a couple more weeks. So, that week, I went back to work. Tuesday and Wednesday, I went to work for 8 hours. When I got in my vehicle on the drive home, my back was flaring, hot, fiery, pins and needles from my feet all the way into my head. By the time I got home, I went to the bathroom, then I laid on the couch, and at that point in time, I could not move. I couldn't move for 4.5 hours. I was like a log, stiff, couldn't do anything. If I needed a drink, I had asked my wife to bring it over. She had to bring it over, bring a straw, and help me to be able to just to drink. She had to help. It was bad. For Tuesday and Wednesday, that's what happened. Thursday, well, the Thursday, I ended up only working 5.5 hours. And then I could not move. So I had to creep my way back into the office to tell the boss I couldn't do anything. He saw how I was moving, said, okay, go ahead and go home. Next thing I know, I'm being told, don't worry about coming in on Friday or Saturday because I text saying I'm not able to move. He said, don't worry about it. Friday and Saturday, I didn't go to work. Sunday and Monday, I took it off. Tuesday, I went into the main doctor, saw him. He wrote me a work note and put me back on work where I can file workman's comp again. At this point in time, I'm on workman's comp. Now, he sends me to 2 different doctors. One's a neurologist and one's a rehabilitation. So the rehabilitation ended up being in Wasilla on April 4th. When we got in there, I couldn't move. I had a hard time moving, doing what he asked, but he only saw me for 10 minutes. Then he shooed us out the door when my wife asked about why my neck was the way it is and why my back was hurting. Is it because I had 2 bulging discs? And he goes, that's a red herring. Shoot us out. He did not have the x-rays. He did not have the MRIs. At this point in time, he didn't even give me any notes. As I was walking out to the front, walking really, really slowly, holding onto the wall, I could see him in his little office writing up the report, not looking at the x-rays or the MRIs. He said that I would talk to my main doctor. So I waited. Got nothing from him. April 11th, my boss texted me, asked me how's everything going. I told him everything was going slowly, still hurting. He asked me if I got a doctor's note. I said no. He said he would contact my main doctor through text. He said okay. An hour or 2 later, he texts me back saying that I can go back to work with restrictions. At this point in time, no one told me, not even the workman comp people. No one communicated with me. So I emailed them right after my text. On the 12th, they text back saying, well, let's look into it. Then on the 13th, they text back saying, yes, the doctor released you, sent me what he said, and then I could go back to work. At this point in time, I said, okay, fine. I understand. So I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting nothing from workman's comp anymore. So I went back to the work on the 14th, which is a Friday, April 14th. Worked a few hours, light duty work. Okay. Then they wanted me to remove an RV refrigerator and an RV stove. Well, those are normal jobs. Those are not light duty. As soon as I got them all unscrewed, all ready to be pulled, another employee came over and asked, how's everything going? I said, good. Just about to measure to see if we can fit it through the door. So he gets up in the vehicle and helps that. He measures the refrigerator. Then he comes to the door and measures the refrigerator. Finds out the refrigerator is too big to fit through the door. We have to remove the door. So he calls and gets a hold of a few people. They come look at everything and they tell me, you have to remove the RV door. Now, the RV door removal is a normal job, not someone that's supposed to be on light duty. At this point in time, they did not care that I was supposed to be light duty. They didn't care. They just said, just do it. So I had to do it. I removed all the screws, did everything, and started removing it, pressing with my body to get through the tape that was holding it against the RV. Pressing, working, cutting, doing everything I'd normally do that I would be doing when I was not on light duty work. So it wasn't right. Then, at lunchtime, when I was able to sit down, I started feeling sick. I started puking, especially started puking up blood. I was on the phone with my wife, so I called in another employee. They moved a bunch of stuff out of the way, and we were able to get me to the emergency room. I drove myself. Halfway to the emergency room, I ended up puking again. More blood came out. Got into the emergency room. They did tests on me, took the vitals, did everything. Said, "Oh, looks okay. You're not sick. You must have just overdid your body." At that point in time, I understand, and I went home for the rest of the day. Now, at home, I still sat down, laid down, wasn't feeling too good. Again, I wasn't able to move for a few hours. Then, the next day, I wake up my normal time to go to work. Instead of going to work, I started puking again, and then I started puking up blood again. This time, my wife got very concerned. She then turned around and drove me to the emergency room. We went into the emergency room. As I was going in the doors, I started hacking and coughing and almost about to puke. Lightheaded, dizziness, everything, tingling, numbness, fire, everything going on with my body. At this point in time, they wheel me in back, take everything, bring me in back, and say, "Oh, we're going to do a CAT scan of your belly." When they did the CAT scan, came back to me, they said, "Oh, it looks all fine." They wrote and said, "No, you're okay." They asked me if I've been feeling sick before I went to work and all this stuff, and I said, "No, I've not been sick this whole entire time. I haven't even shown signs of any coughing or anything before I went to work on the 14th. Now, it's the 15th. I'm at the point I can't go back to work. Tell my boss I'm not coming to work today." He said, "Okay." Then I went home with my wife and my daughter, who are with me. They took care of me. I couldn't move barely. I had pins and needles. I had hard time breathing, and everything else. Then, Sunday and Monday were my relaxation days, so I took them very easy. Now, at this point in time, I am waiting. Tuesday the 18th comes around. I had to go back to the urgent care because I was feeling dizzy, feeling like I was a blackout, and feeling like really sick. To find out, I have 100% oxygen level in my body at that point. Doctor didn't even know what was going on with me. So he put me back on work release so I can be back on workman's comp. The 25th, I saw my doctor. He says I need to see a neurologist and an OPA, and he'll see me on the 3rd to figure out the next step. So May 1st, I go to the neurologist. I end up going to Anchorage, and at this point in time, find out I cannot breathe properly. Lightheaded, dizziness, about to pass out. They laid me down, did the paperwork, talked to me, told him what was going on, and he said, "No, this isn't a brain thing. This sounds like a back thing." He says, "Oh, you didn't lose no brain cells. You're good to go." I was like, "Thank you." Went back home. Again, got home, felt the same exact way. Then, on the 2nd, I went to an OPA in the Matsu. He went through my x-rays and MRIs, started going through them, started noticing problems, and then he goes, "Oh, you have a torn ligament in your neck, and you have 2 bulging discs on your spine, and the opposite side pressing on it just right. That's what's going on with you." So, find out exactly what's going on. Now I'm under OPA care, and they're saying I cannot go back to work, so they put me off until the 30th of May. My main doctor says, "Okay, well, I'll help where I can, otherwise you'll be going with OPA." I said yes. On the 3rd, now, I get a letter in the mail telling me that I have an appointment with an IME. I talk to the OPA, they say go to it, otherwise they can deny you your benefits. I go to my IME, he does his evaluations, he does his things. He measures me, he looks at me, he notices I can't do things, asks about my scar, asks about flat feet, looks up and down at me, and then he says, "Okay." I explain what was happening just like I did earlier. Next thing I know, I'm told okay. The 24th, I go to a OP therapy, Find out, well, therapy is just going to have me do 6 weeks. Next thing I know, I get an email saying, here's the IME report. Have any questions? Email me. Next thing I know, after that, I'm in my vehicle. We're driving home. I look at the report all the way through and it says, since I do not have a concussion, I can go back to work. Excuse me, what about the torn ligaments in my neck and my 2 bulging discs? There was nothing about that. Apparently, because I was involved with a car accident the year before, got released from the car accident on 9/28, that it shouldn't be a problem. Since it's a red herring, they basically blamed it on that and stated that since I didn't I can go back to work. At this point in time, Friday comes around, the 26th, and I get an email from my OPA saying I cannot go to work till June 13th when I see him. So right now I'm on workman's release without pay, with no workman's comp because they refuse to help. I'm sorry, but I'm fighting this. At this point in time, I'm trying everything in the book to try to found out what kind of paperwork I need and how I'm going to have to send it in. I didn't get no email, letter in the mail from the workman's comp people yet. I had to email them and ask them what I need to do. They emailed back saying that I have to get this close to the 30th by this point. Nothing any sooner. What? So basically, they're the ones not communicating. They're the ones not wanting to do anything because of an IME. Now, I walk with this cane, which you see on the side of me. I have head problems, so I'm trying to keep straight. My neck is still killing me. And I have to go to therapy, but I have no money for it, have no money for my doctor's appointment, have no money for my bills, have no money coming in at all. We are struggling. Me and my family is struggling. And I need help. So I'm trying to find help. I believe my OPA doctor's appointment is going to cost me up to $300 because I do not have insurance and because it was a work release, my insurance is not going to cover it. Including my therapy appointments, they will not cover it because it was done with work, but work says it's done because of accident. Or IPA, the IME is wrong. Now, I'm asking, what do you think? Please leave your comments down below. If anybody knows a lawyer that's willing to help, willing to look at my case, I'll leave an email so you can get a hold of me. I thank you for listening. I thank you for your help. But please, if you know anything else I can do, please leave it in the comments. I thank you. You all have a good day. From Alaska, from the Matsu area. Have a good day.